Okie doke. Finally, we are there.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, caffeine. Should I hide this cup, by the way?
I don't know.
I mean,
if you want to tell everyone about your addiction, then it's okay. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm a little sensitive about it. However, America does not do coffee like Europe does.
So what's the difference?
It's just better.
Stronger?
Yeah.
All the way better.
Oh yeah, it's so strong you can chew it.
Yeah, that's pocket coffee, I guess.
Yes. It's like coffee talk. No.
It used to be drunk talk back in the day.
Can we do drunk talk later?
We definitely will. That's a given.
Hello, this is Arejay Hale from the band Halestorm. I am here in the middle of a big room in Cologne, Germany, and this is Drum Talk. Let's do it.
Drumming is a symbiosis of primitivity, but it can be complexity. You look at Terry Bozzio, I would say it's complexity.
Yeah.
But you have caveman drumming, that's you.
That's probably 90% my style is caveman style.
Yeah, but tasty caveman style.
Yes, exactly.
So,
caveman with some flavor. Yeah.
You have a simple heartbeat and you have deconstruction. So this is one very crucial aspect for me when I describe the beauty of drums and rhythm and percussion. What is your perception of the instrument?
I think that it has the power to set the tone for the music, to make or break the feel. It does kind of decide like what the feel of a musical piece is going to be. You know, it drives the song, it drives the other music, and you're kind of in the captain's chair, and it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot more pressure than I think most others. You know, it is definitely a physical ordeal. Like you're probably exerting the most physical energy more than anyone else on the stage. I mean, we walk off stage, and I'm just drenched in sweat, and they're all just kind of like, you know, put on a new shirt, you know, pour a glass of wine. I'm like, I need a shower, you know, like I need a shower and a massage and a mud bath. No. So yeah, it is definitely physically more demanding, but also, you know, just if you have a bad drummer, you have a bad band, you know? I mean, there's really no way to fake it. You know, you have to be solid and you have to provide that blueprint, that map for everyone else to follow. You know, they're all depending on you to lead them through the quest of the song, you know, and your destination is you know, playing it right. You know? If you're a guitarist or a bassist, you probably could play a show every single day forever and you'd be fine. But you know, for drummers, like, yeah, we need to take a break. We need to you know, really focus on physical health, stretch and mobility, nutrition, you know, really taking it easy on like the devices and, you know, because it can burn you out. You know, I think that's one of my advice, some of the advice that I give like younger musicians is like, you know, take your physical health seriously if you're going to be a drummer, because, you know, you're going to burn yourself out. If you try to keep up with everybody else in the band, you know, partying wise, I speak from experience, you'll be the first one to go, you know? So, you know, there is a lot more responsibility on a drummer. I think you have to make sure that you get enough sleep and that you're getting enough mobility and stretching. And for me personally, like, you know, physical exercise is important. And also just, you know, making sure that you're not doing things to affect your performance, you know, because you also have to keep a clear head to be able to stay conscious of tempos, of the groove. You know, it's so important. If you screw it up, it's so obvious and it's so noticeable and everybody notices and everybody looks back at you with that death stare like, what the did you do, you know? So yeah, you got to take care of yourself physically and mentally on tour. You got to stay sharp.
I mean, it's one of the only instruments that is so loud by design that you have to cover your ears, otherwise you'll get your, what is it called, tinnitus?
Yeah, tinnitus, yeah.
That's right.
There's tinnitus and tendinitis. You can get both from playing drums, so you have to be careful.
I have my earring since I'm 16 years old.
Oh, really?
Prong show, first row, Melvins, stupid. Prong in Melvins.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Prong in the
of
Melvins?
course, yeah, sure.
That's badass. Nice.
It was badass. It was
Worth it. Right? You know? Every time I see it, I always have earplugs with me. I have these. These are my little Bluetooth earbuds, but these also have foam tips that are really sound isolating. So I'll put them in if like something's loud. Sometimes I'll put them in just on the bus because that droning sound can make your ears tired after a while. So yeah, I really take my hearing seriously. My physical health, mental health, and hearing, very, very important. Absolutely. That's cool you bring that up because that's so vital. And I think a lot of people don't think about it.
Sooner or later they will.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why you gotta hold on to it before you lose it, yeah.
I talked to a drummer friend recently, and we agreed, now that you mentioned that it's something that is not brought up enough. We agreed that there are important things that get overlooked when it comes to learning and teaching drums. So have you stumbled across some important aspect that you maybe should have paid attention to earlier?
Oh, hell yeah. Rudiments, you know? When you're a kid and you just want to go crazy on a drum set, the last thing you want to do is paraflamadiddle-whittles, you know? Like, you don't want to do that crap. Like, it's so boring. And you do it to a click track, it's like, ah! It's just annoying. It's just like, I can't do it. And then you just want to take your aggression out on the drum set and just, brrr, you know? But it's so important. And I don't even know what the science of it is and why. But there was a point where, like, I could definitely feel my drumming suffering. I was, drinking on tour, and I wasn't getting a lot of sleep, and I wasn't eating healthy, and I wasn't really doing warm-ups, and I wasn't really stretching or taking care of myself. I don't think the crowd really noticed too much because they're all just like, woo! But definitely my bandmates and I noticed that my drumming was suffering. And one of the best things I did was started to learn marching band rudiments. I was never marching band, but I wish I was, because guys that march have those chops that you can't recreate, So I started learning marching band rudiments, and to a click track, and it just helped me learn how to space my hits out properly, how to space the drum fills, how to groove really solid, and it helped so much. So I think one of the biggest advices I would give to myself now, to really, don't take the rudiments for granted. Like they are so important, and I don't even know why. It just helps. Like, it helped me so much, So do it.
One thing is, I learned it here in this very program when I was talking to Simon Phillips.
What a legend that guy is. Oh, man. I grew up watching that guy, so yeah.
He said it's important to listen, which is listen to yourself more. Get some microphones for your drum kit. Because I come from a death metal background. So my rehearsals are always noise.
Yeah.
And I can't even barely hear myself.
Oh yeah, you gotta hear yourself. Yeah.
And exactly. So first, to reduce the mistakes you do. Also, it's more fun if you really hear what the kick drum is doing, right?
Yeah.
So this is one thing. But looking at the other guys, look at each other and play music together.
Yeah.
In metal, that's not really a common thing.
You're focused on your thing. Yeah.
Exactly. But this is more like playing to a backtrack.
Yeah.
In the end. But are you guys playing with each other?
Yes, absolutely. We have in-ear monitors, which is nice because we didn't really grow up with them, and back in the old days you didn't have those, and so we're kind of spoiled by having in-ear monitors. And yes, like, it's so important to have a mix of everything. I have to hear the guitars. My guitarist Joe does a lot of solos. We have a lot of jam sections where we start to just go off and improvise. And so it's very important that we're not just listening to each other, but communicating with each other musically. Like, it is a musical language that we speak to each other. And we kind of have that luxury because we've been playing as a foursome for like 14, 15 years, something, probably more, 16 years maybe. So we've been playing together for so long that we understand how each other plays and we have a good chemistry with each other. But that's so important to be able to, but you're right, you also have to hear your own instrument to make sure that you're matching up with your bandmates, with your other players.
I watched some of your solo videos.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
Why would you waste
That's
your
fine.
time doing that shit?
And a few things I noticed. So you want to be completely understood by anyone in the audience, not just the music nerds, but like everyone should get what you're doing on the instrument. I would say you play kind of simple beats and get the crowd moving.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool that you say that because that's a good observation because I feel like that works better most of the time. When you get the audience grooving and moving and clapping and chanting and call and answer stuff, I think is way more effective than just getting up there and just doing a bunch of fast stuff. Like as a drummer, I even find drum solos boring. Unless you're, John Bonham, then I'm just like, whoa, or Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, or Ginger Baker, Keith Moon, whatever. But, because, it's like just watching somebody do a bunch of, super fast sextuplet quintuples or what. Stop laughing. I don't know what I'm saying. They're laughing over there. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying that for me personally, and I think for our audience, and after a lot of trial and error and doing a lot of shows, I find that, especially in Europe, like they get very interactive, which is fun. Like I can just do this, and then the whole crowd is going, oi, 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 and it's like, yes,
In Germany, we always clap to the one.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
You're pleasing. You're understanding us.
So yesterday was our first show, and I just kind of did my regular solo, just to the same one we do every night. I used to improvise them all the time, and now I'm starting to do the same thing every night because now we have a lighting tech who's really great, and he wants me to do the same solo so he can play with me with the lights. So the drum solo and the light show are like locked in. But now I'm gonna have to apply some more of that, like, chanting, clapping stuff, because they don't do it as much in the States. They do it a lot more out here, which is really amazing. So, but just to finish your point, like, yeah, it's like, I think a drum solo should be more like an everybody solo. It should be interactive. It's like the most tribal moment in a show. If I could give everyone a drum set and make the world's biggest multi-person drum solo, then Guinness World Book of Records, that'd be great, but that'd be expensive. So you know what? We're gonna go with the cheaper option. We'll get everybody clapping, jumping, chanting, singing, stuff like that. So I love, and I have a microphone. It definitely like helps me to be able to connect with the crowd and interact with them, and it makes it so much more fun for me, than just doing a bunch of like fast stuff. Like, I'll throw it in every once in a while just for a big crescendo, but for the most part, I like to just groove and have fun with the audience.
I would say that we all were starting to play on cans and cushions. Yeah. Right? With spoons and tools and whatever
Pots and
is
pans
around.
And yeah.
Exactly. So, and who said you just have to play with this pair of 5A sticks on the center of the drum head, right? Is this the only place to drum? No, of course not. It is not.
I mean, to each their own,
No, but I like it when it's getting more creative.
Yeah.
And I
see
mean,
what you're saying,
it's an instrument of sound. So why just use the head above? Why not use the stick on the kick drum head, or use the rim, or use the whole, what do you say?
At some point, someone invented the cross stick, someone invented the rim shot, Someone invented the bell of the cymbal, the edge of the cymbal. You know, there's a lot of ways. Like for example, like I have a china that's like vertical because I like to hit it from the front side and the back side. It has a slightly different kind of sound to it. So,
so what led you to a more open notion of playing on the instrument or with the instrument? I would say that you do a little bit more like the usual.
Oh, I don't know. Just boredom and doing a lot of shows and just trying to keep it interesting. For me, you know, I have like mini timbales. I've got some rocket toms. I got some zill bells. I got a cowbell.
It's a very percussive setup.
You know, honestly, it's just fun having that because it makes it more fun for me. Keeps it interesting, you know. And anything that sounds really annoying to my sound guy or my bandmates, like I'm all about that, you know. If I can make them, if they're on stage like this and they look at me like this. That's the look I go for. There you go. That was it. You know?
That's the magic moment right there.
Big T's losing it.
Yeah, but how?
It's funny, but it's true.
How have you experimented with the sounds on your drum kit? I mean, you added some electronic devices there.
Oh yeah, I used to. I think like I had to go extreme to like dial it back to perfect. Like for a long time I was, you know, I was raised on John Bonham and I was with Ludwig for a while, and so I had the Bonham set up. You know, basic 5-piece, you know, 14, 16, 18, 26, hi-hat, 2 crashes, ride, that's it, you know? And it was really fun to strip it down to the bare basic. Like, I am all for the bare bones. Even even in my setup, like my go-to drums are my kick, snare, rack tom, floor toms, crash cymbals, ride cymbal, hi-hat. You know, like that's the go-to. Everything else is just extra. It just makes it more fun, you know, for me. But it's really not necessary. I could play the same show without the extra stuff, and it would be fine. But for me, it's just like for selfish reasons, because we do a lot of shows. Like we play 300,000 shows a year, and which is crazy, right? No, we do a lot of shows a year, so it's just fun for me to have all the weird sounds in there. So yeah, it's just fun. And now I'm with Pearl, and they make all kinds of cool stuff. Pearl and LP both like make all kinds of cool percussion. So I've got all these weird fun drums up there, you know. I don't know. And my drum tech's cool with it. My drum tech, Joe Miller, is like the best drum tech in the world. Like he's just so good at his job. He's just so meticulous. Like he's like every little detail. He's so aware. He watches me like a hawk when we're playing. And he watches what I do, and he's got a better understanding of my playing than I do. He's like, dude, I think that you would have a better time. I think it would be easier if you put these up here, or this over here, this there. And I'm like, sure, go for it. So he gets up there and moves it. And I'm just like, hey, you're right. That's nice, you know? So yeah, we're always switching things up just to keep it interesting, you know?
So it's like a drum doctor, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's my drum doc, you know?
That's a good way.
And I need a prescription. And it's only more cowbell.
There's this famous formula, less is more, which has been discussed on this show before, like countless times. And there is...
more is more. No.
Yeah, of course more is more, but it's, it's more like...
no, you're right, less is more. You're right.
But yeah, but it depends.
Sometimes.
I would say play what the music asks for. Is this the better term for that meaning,
yeah.
right? Which is still pretty subjective because, I mean, it's different tastes, right? Who has the right to say this is the only right thing for the song? Now, in your case, you have to deliver solid rough grooves.
Yeah.
What is your agenda to keep it simple but also tasty? Because this is the very crucial point, right?
Yeah.
You have ghost notes. I would say it amplifies your groove on the right spot. So what is your feeling about when a groove is fine?
I'm all about ghost notes. I think that ghost notes are like the glue that holds the groove together. I think it sounds really nice. But yeah, you're right. Like over the years, just kind of out of necessity, it's kind of been our objective is to play everything very simple. And not just me, but all of us. Like we've all stripped back on a lot of the riffs strictly just because now we're starting to play really big rooms like arenas. you know, which is a good problem to have, you know? Like, at first it was kind of like a bummer, like, oh, now that we're playing these arenas, we can't play as many notes and it's not quite as much, it's not as exciting and this and that, you know? And then we stop and think, but we're playing arenas, like, no, this is awesome, this is great, you know? So like, stop complaining, asshole. That was just kind of like, yeah, over the years, we really had to train ourselves to try to open everything up, to play more simple, to simplify everything. And I think it just makes the overall sound better. So for me, I really have to pick and choose my battles. Like I will pick crucial moments in the set where I can really go crazy. And then for the rest of it, I'll try to just keep it very open, very wide open. After the first couple times I tried that, ironically, I felt like I was getting a better reaction from the audience because it was a lot more, the crazy chaotic moments stood out more because it was in contrast with a lot of big simple moments. At those certain moments where you really get to go crazy, it's way more effective because the audience doesn't get numb to it after a while. I think in the old days, we all used to just be as crazy and as fast and as chaotic as we could for the whole set, for the whole time. You know, and now that we pick and choose the moments to really, you know, go for it, it makes those moments even more effective to the audience. So just after years and years of playing live shows, I feel like we have a pretty good idea of how to make a set list flow and really be able to manipulate and create those moments for the audience to like really go crazy and just you know, really feel it, you know. So, I mean, but we're all still learning. Like we never stop learning on how to construct a set list. But that seems to be a really effective change that we've made in our live show is picking and choosing the right moments to ramp up the chaos. Right. I mean, it's the same thing with Lizzie. Like Lizzie used to just like wah, just belt and wail the whole time. And after a while, they're like, whoa, that's so cool. But after a while, they're like, okay, we've heard you do the thing, you know. Like, and also for physical reasons, too. For her and I both, like, I think that singers and drummers have the worst physical exertion on stage, you know. So she saves her voice for the moments where she can really go for it. I save my body for the moments where I can really go for it. And that makes the whole show way more effective for us.
What can you say about different producers and what do you expect from a good producer to get the best out of you?
Well, with every record, it's kind of been a different approach. Like the first two records, we really didn't know what we were doing in the studio, so we would start out with a lot of demos, a lot of drum parts programmed, a lot of the music parts programmed, and then we would figure out and map out exactly what to play, and then go in the studio and just recreate the demo. With this last record, we just went into the studio and just started writing from the ground up. Just all of us, like we used to do in my parents' basement when we were kids. We would just get together and jam and just come up with ideas. We did the same thing in the studio with our producer Nick Resculenix, who, if you look at his track record, I mean, he's done some of the greatest bands, and for me personally, worked with some of the best drummers of our generation. He worked with Queens of the Stone Age with Dave Grohl. He did Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl. He did the last two Rush records with Neil Peart. He did Mastodon, Braun. He did Will Hunt with Evanescence. He worked with so many great players that I felt kind of intimidated going in. But after working with him, you kind of forget that he is like this legendary producer and he's just a goofy dude just to hang out with. He's just a fun dude. And we would just hang out and goof off and just make jokes. And then when it came to collaborating, yeah, like a lot of times I would focus on the songwriting up until like the day of drum tracking. And we found that our best approach was to collaborate with what felt right in the moment, like to come up with drum parts, but also to try not to overthink it too much where we lose that spontaneity. So we kind of, like, for us, like, and we also did entire takes. We didn't do any piecing or editing. We didn't even do any sample stacking or any editing in Pro Tools. So I had to play it right, top to bottom. And oftentimes we found that like by take 3, like we had the perfect balance of like playing it smoothly, getting all the parts right, but also keeping that spontaneous energy from kind of not really overthinking or not feeling too comfortable. So it just kind of worked with our particular sound. And it was a lot of work, but it was so much fun. Like, I love that process. It just feels so much more real and human and raw, you know?
Yeah, like when the producer is challenging you.
It was a challenge, yeah. And he's a great coach. Like, he's in the live room with you while you're playing. Like, the engineer, Nathan, is in the control room, who he's a genius in his own right, amazing engineer. But he has so much trust in Nathan that he is in the live room with me with headphones on, with a drumstick like a conductor's wand, just being like, okay, here we go, and this part, and that, you know, like, so like the energy that he puts out is infectious, you know. And he wanted me to apply a lot of the live, because, you know, playing in the studio and playing live are very different. When you're live, you're jumping around, you're putting on a show, you're going crazy. In the studio, you're very focused, you're trying to like keep it consistent, keep playing to a click track. But he actually encouraged me to like to go crazy like I do live, you know, and just to help recreate that live energy on record. And I think that with this record, it's probably the closest we've gotten to capturing the live energy on a recording.
What is more stressful? One person you really know witnessing your rehearsals, or like 20,000 people in front of you?
Oh, I think I would be way more stressful if people were watching our rehearsals, because rehearsals usually mean that we haven't played in a while and we're trying to, you know, fix all the kinks and, you know, knock off the dust, you know. So I think I'd be way more nervous about that. Playing in front of 20,000, 50,000 people, that's no problem anymore. You know, that's just fun, you know. The energy you get from playing in front of a massive festival crowd is, there's no drug that can match it. It's just so fun. It's so amazing.
I would say you haven't tried enough.
You're right. You know what? You're right, yeah. Yeah, I gotta take that back. Still, it's great though, you know. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on Drum Talk. I'm Arejay Hale from the band Halestorm out here in Germany. I gotta go to work, gotta play a show tonight. So we'll see you out on the road. Come see us live, and mwah! Love you all. Bye-bye.